This video is going to do something a little bit slightly more complex. So we're going to look at creating a so-called Celtic ring, or look at how to make something that looks like a chain and has some three-dimensionality to it, and a bit more complexity to it. We can't do it in the same way because it is more complex, and we're going to be using a gradient. So I have to do it a slightly different way, and I'll explain that as I go along. So I'm going to switch that off and work in a fresh layer up here. Again, I'm going to start with creating two circles. Same thing we did before. And these ones are a little bit fatter anyway, so that's quite good. And just to show you, it's a different circle. Again, you're going to take both circles and use the Pathfinder panel to remove the front circle, the yellow circle. Or if you like, you can use Compound Path Make. So you do the same thing. Now this time I want to apply a gradient all over the software, you know, Photoshop, Illustrator, and to some extent InDesign. There's opportunities for you to make gradients. First of all, what I want to do is I need to apply the gradient. So with this selected, I'm applying the gradient, but I need a radial gradient. Now that's very nice, but what I actually need is something a bit more, with a bit more intensity here. Okay, so what you can do is you can use the gradient slider to arrange the colors how you would like them to be. You can add color. So in this case, I'm going to add a black. And what I'm doing is I'm double clicking on the gradient slider, and I'm talking to it via this color picker here, so I can change the color however I like. In this case, we want a black. And if I'd done that to this, it would give the illusion of a really nice, rich circle. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go backwards and pull the white slider up here, and then create another dark shadow area. So we've got the shadow coming round the surface with a highlight here. So we need black in here. So I'm just going to double click and choose black. And then you can position it. That's a little bit hard up here, so I'm just going to position it. In every gradient, you have an opportunity to do that. And of course, you can add full color in as well. But you have also these little diamond shapes, which are the bridge between the two colors. So you can move those and adjust how the colors meld into each other. I'm quite happy with them where they are, but just so that you know, when I click on the paint pots, it's reflected down here. So for instance, we have 100% opacity, solid color, and then down here we have the location. So for instance, if I put in 50, it should jump to here. Okay, but of course we need it up here. So this is just another way of controlling where these paint pots are. And that's absolutely fine for the gradient. We need to make copies. So I'm going to arrange my interlocking rings. You can make it as complicated as you like. I'm just going to find some kind of complexity. And we want to match this kind of idea down here. So you just put this on the side, shrink it down a little bit so you can see it. We're looking for this kind of structure. So the first thing is to select everything in the layer. And if I use the divide button, I'm not going to be able to merge them back together again. And that's because we're using a gradient. It doesn't work through using the divide tool. There's no way of doing the recolor trick. I actually just want to show you something else. So down here I've got a couple of circles. When I used divide, what we did was we went in and we recolored this. What I want to be able to do with this is to actually delete a part of it, because I can't recolor it with the gradient. It doesn't make sense. But here, so we've divided. Look what happens when I delete. I create a hole, which is fine if you want a hole, absolutely fine, but that's not what I want here. So I'm going to switch this one off, and I'm going to select all three rings, and instead of using divide, I'm going to use its neighbor, which is trim. And what trim does is it cuts each of the rings up by each other. So this one cuts this one, and this one cuts this one, and so on. They're all cut, but all of the parts remain, unlike the divide tool, which would allow the background one to disappear. So that means I can come in with my direct selection tool and delete. Okay, so I decide which way I'm going. I'm going to follow the same pattern here. So that's over and under, over and under. Okay. Oops, nope, over and under already. That's where it is. And then over and under, that one's fine. So this one is going under and over, under and over. And then we need to just look at this one and check it. So I want this one to go under and over, under and over. That's fine. Now, I do still have the same sort of problem. I have those little peculiar lines. And I can apply the merge now. So I can take the whole thing and I can use the merge button. But it doesn't do as good a job. So I might get lucky and it's done one for me there. Sometimes it does several, but sometimes, like in this case, it's having a lot of trouble. So then what you have to do is cheat. Graphic designers should be brilliant cheats. It's all about illusion. So zoom in, use your direct selection tool, and then I'm going to select the area, select the anchor point so I can use the handles, and I'm just adjusting the handle, and you can see it's covering now the break point. So similarly here, select the anchor point which will make the handles appear, and then you can just pull the handles over the break point. And by the way, you might see a lot of raggedness as we're doing this, but of course we're looking at this on a screen, which is pixels, it's bitmap, and it's the appearance of raggedity. It's not true. If I print this, I get a perfect circle. So all I need to do is just go through all of the joins and fake the illusion of continuity, and thereby create my interlocking rings.